The left-wing mainstream media presenter Emily Maitlis has once again failed to do her usual gotcha journalism during an interview with Lord David Frost. Oh, this is going to be beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. And this actually reminds me, we have mentioned Emily Maitlis a number of times over the last few years, especially more recent years, with her bias. And usually I remember all these videos is about Emily Maitlis failing to do something, or she's been exposed when it comes to her bias when she was presenting Newsnight. Then it makes you think, how are they supposed to be the professional ones? How are they at the top of their industry? It makes you wonder, really. But this is an interview that she did on her new podcast thing and with David Frost. So now Lord Frost, who was the former chief negotiator for Brexit, and he, since then obviously has come out to speak out against what happened with that government, and previously with Theresa May, saying that, well, there were a lot of restrictions and this is a deal that we had to get. A lot of people blamed it on him, saying that, well, it's your fault for doing that. But in reality, obviously, he, certain people said, he was just following orders because the policy didn't come from him. He had to follow what Downing Street were directing him to do. So he's not too happy about everything that happened with those negotiations. This is the interview where Emily Maitlis is trying her best to basically find ways to blame everything on him and Brexit. All the issues didn't go too well. Let's watch it together and analyse it.
It's not a ringing endorsement, is it?
If you're a European Union member state, when you come to an election, you can't change your trade policy, you can't change your employment policy, you can't change your social policy, you can't change your immigration policy. There are lots of things. We
literally helped write those rules. We were at the table writing.
Okay. I have to pause this here. This is such a boring and repetitive argument from Ramona's. And she's literally, by saying that, showing her own bias while claiming to be impartial. Okay, the problem with this, she says, we helped write those rules when we were inside the European Union. And by we, she's not talking about we. Technically, she's basically doing gaslighting. She's saying we, normal people, Brexiteers, and also the Brexit campaigners. It wasn't we. It was the governments years ago, the same governments that were run by politicians that we as Brexiteers didn't want. The Ramonas at the time, the pro-European Union, the Europhiles who went to the European Union and wrote those rules, including, for example, things behind the European Court of Justice, ECHR and everything else. So it's not we. It was already the Euro-federalists that then became the new generation were the people like Ed Miliband and Nick Clegg and Tony Blair. So don't claim that it was somehow Brexiteers, like either Nigel Farage or Lord Frost or me and you, we wrote it. What Lord Frost is saying that regardless of who wrote it, by being a member of the European Union, you have restrictions.
Those rules.
To me, that is a constrained democracy. It's not a full democracy. You can't change everything. And how they work is subject to a court, which we only have a small part in. What we now can do is set the future of our own country in the way we wish to, with complete freedom. And that is...
Sorry, to pause again. By the way, we have to keep pausing every now and then because of copyright issues. As you guys know, we can't keep letting it go forward. The first attempt, she completely failed because Lord Frost didn't take the bait. He just remained calm and he continued with his answer. He didn't even get sidetracked or distracted. He just basically said, just ignore what she said. It's nonsensical. I'm going to go with what I'm saying. Let's go.
Huge opportunity.
And do you think we're doing that
for 50 years?
No.
We're beginning to. We've done more things than people think, but I would like to have seen us going faster, and I think we still can. I think we've got a bright future ahead of us if we can stop with the kind of sort of fantasy that moving very slightly closer back towards the EU is going to transform our economic position.
And that's what people like Emily Maitlis want, because you just noticed a few seconds ago when she said, and are we doing that? If it was an actual professional, impartial journalist, a reporter asking that, she would stop right there. But are we doing that? But no, she didn't do that. If you scroll back, you'll notice she said, are we doing that? She actually then answered the question herself, saying no. So she already shown her bias again. But once again, Lord Frost didn't take the bait.
It's not. It's in our hands, and we've got to get serious about that and change things.
So your message to people who are now regretting it or thinking it's wrong or starting to wonder why on earth we did it, is what?
My message to people is you voted to give back to the British people the ability to determine our own future, and it's now in our own hands to make the best use of that. We may do it badly, we may do it well. It's in our own hands, and we've got to get it right.
It's not a ringing endorsement, is it?
Oh, well, that last bit just completely proved and showed her true face as usual. It's not really surprising, obviously, we know that. But what Lord Frost said was absolutely perfectly well said, and it's something that all of us, including the other senior activists for Leave and Brexit, should have been saying it from the beginning till now, and more consistently, because that's the whole point of Brexit. The Ramonas tried to corner you into some sort of weird black hole by saying, well, we thought that Brexit was supposed to fix everything, and so you promised a perfect utopia. That wasn't Brexit. Brexit is supposed to be saying, well, we'll leave from the European Union and we'll be creating a situation where, and we haven't done it yet, we could have more democracy and more sovereignty. So we could have a better Britain as an independent Britain or a worse independent Britain, but it will be up to us and up to our government and up to our parliament and the voters. It will be our destiny and our own responsibility. It could go right, it could go well, it could go absolutely terrible. But it's up to us who we vote for. Technically, this was the theory behind it. But in order to get to that point, you need to have actual Brexit. You can't have the Northern Ireland section of the United Kingdom remaining inside the European Union, essentially. You can't really have all these EU laws still being tied to us. You can't really have ECHR still having some oversight. You can't really have the European Court of Justice trying to come in and interfere in our affairs. When you get rid of all that, then Ramonas, it's up to them if they want to elect a left-wing party or government, and then they could have their own version of independent Britain. And right-wingers could vote for a right-wing party, and they could have their own version of independent Britain. It could go really well, and it could go really badly. That's the logic behind Brexit. But they've been completely doing gaslighting every single minute and trying to shift the debate into some sort of non-existent debate about Brexit supposed to be saving everybody and fixing everything. That's not Brexit. Brexit means freedom, democracy, and sovereignty. Simple. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Support the channel. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.